You're listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of jaysjournal.com and fansided.com. We are the official ballroom chat for everything Toronto Blue Jays baseball, from game highlights to rumors and all the stuff in between. Here's your host, Craig Borden, with co-hosts Jason Lyons and Liz McGuire. Now let's talk some Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Good evening, Blue Jays fans, and welcome to another evening of Jay Bird Watching. I'm your host, Craig Borden. Tonight, so far with me, we got Liz McGuire. Liz, how the hell are you?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good. Day game. I didn't go because I didn't want to, because it was mushy and I had been on Monday. And I don't really like the work from dome games because, like, I don't know. It's like the middle of the day. I get drunk in the middle of the day. Dome is closed. I wait a little bit for the day games when the sun is out. Great game today. They did a lot of scoring of runners. I'm seeing them. The trend lately is to play small ball. You know, their dinger guys are going to heat up, but like there were 2 bunts back to back yesterday. Love that.
That's a whole competition thing we're going to talk about here very shortly. But if you all hadn't noticed, we have one other gentleman with us this evening, Daryl of Jay Birdy. How the heck are you, bud?
I'm doing great, and thank you for having me, Craig. Liz, thank you very much as well. Looking forward to talking everything Blue Jays and whatever else topics we come on about baseball. I will say to what Liz had said, I believe we broke the losing streak on work from dome day.
Yes, we did.
So that's big. We can do it. We can win.
Yeah, we can do it
now.
We can get past the curse. Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Yep.
So on that note, then I have a horrible piece of trivia that I noticed and stumbled onto yesterday. Does anybody know when the last time this team was actually above 500 was? Ooh, it's gonna hurt when I tell you.
Game 1, 2020.
It really is gonna hurt. Not quite that far.
Okay. I'm gonna say. Okay, hold on. When did I get really sad last year? When was I first super sad? I don't know, man. I'm gonna say like maybe August.
It's been since this time, almost this week, last year.
Wow.
Ouch. And our buddy in the chat, frequent flyer from the cheap seats, Michael Borland, you are correct, sir. So, but on that note, that's the wonderful reality that we've been living in a blur, that this team is going to always be good. It's going to get good. We're going to be competitive. I'm very optimistic. Daryl, you mentioned that in the pregame show. Mm-hmm. We are officially a week into Toronto Blue Jays baseball. What are your thoughts? Just then talk whatever the heck you want to talk about and gush on this team for a minute.
Well, I would love to gush on this team. This team makes me blush all the time, and they have since I was born in the early 80s. But the good thing is that we're a week in. We've got all of this wonderful year to go. And what's the worst thing that's happened so far? Max Scherzer's out for 15 days. Okay?
Scherzer.
So compared to some of the other teams, I think we're in a good spot. We're above 500. All cylinders are going, and I think that there's some talent on this team that has something to prove. And we've got some young guys mixed with some old guys, which, in my opinion, we haven't seen since the Alex Anthopoulos days, where you're mixing the young and the old. And I think it helps in the clubhouse, and I think it makes for a good synergy for a team. And yeah, I think everybody is overlooking the Blue Jays. We've got some dominant teams. People are expecting the Red Sox to be hot. Everyone's expecting the Bronx Bombers with their torpedo bats to be ultra good, but don't sleep on the Blue Jays. I still think if we can go on the plus side of 83 wins, anything is possible, and we can go for a run. And you know, we just have to stop looking at what everybody's thinking about. Why didn't we sign this guy? We have to trust management. They've done some great things. Maybe there's a lot that we don't know, but so far, so good.
Yeah,
I like that. I will say that like again, I'm happy about our start. Everybody was sort of down, and I get it. We lost the home opener pretty bad, but like again, we've won the home opener a lot, and we've had trash season. So that doesn't get me too down, but I do like the quality of baseball that I'm seeing. It's gonna take we know that like Santander will heat up. We know that Vladdy will heat up, but they're not relying on their home run guys right now. Again, we're seeing people get on base. We're seeing runs get scored, which yes, it's only been a couple games, but damn, if there was one thing we could do last year, it was lose a game by 1 and just leave a pile of guys on base, which made it the most frustrating team to watch. So it's like even if we're what I said before, like I want a team. Get ready. I want a team that even if we let up like 6 runs, if like we're 6 runs down, I want a team that can power back again and I think can make the comeback in whatever way it needs to. All championship ball clubs are able to kind of have that comeback, have that rally back. And you see, Dodgers, you've seen the Dodgers do it 1,000 times. So I want that to be us again. I want us to be if we're down by, I don't know, 1, I want to believe that we can come back.
Yep. 50 people already in the chat. Hit us up with your comments. 455th episode this evening. And now Jason Lyons coming in hot, buddy. How we doing?
Hey, man. Super good. I sorry, it's busy times right now in the old construction industry. So trying to balance a million balls in the air here right now, but happy to see you. Hey, Daryl, how's it going?
Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Jason.
Yeah, and you guys are swinging right into what I was hoping we'd be talking about right off. The biggest difference.
First week impressions, bud.
Yeah, the biggest difference that I've seen, and I feel like, this is what everybody's talking about, is they're doing all the things last year right now that they couldn't do. They're scoring runners, they're hitting home runs, they're getting good D, their pitching's good. It's almost too good to be true right now. And the one thing that I do like is it's not perfect. They haven't won every game. Like the Dodgers haven't lost. Is that right? The Dodgers really haven't lost.
Yeah.
Yep. I think we need some of the fouls. I think we need, kind of the egg they laid game 1. You know what I mean? I think it keeps the team like this grounded. And I can't even talk about the guys who've been overly impressive to this point. And if they can keep going, I feel like Jimenez especially, this guy might be the rudder that turns this whole ship around. And how would you ever think that a guy wearing number 0, does he not kind of remind you of Josh Donaldson if Josh Donaldson seemed like a nice guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he does.
He's so reliable. He's so reliable. He's so good on D. He hammers the ball. And when he hammers the ball, he looks at the pitcher like, "Nah, I got you again." Right? It's in there. The swagger's in there, but he's nice. He's like, "Hey, look at me. I'm a really nice guy."
So if it's also okay to add, we're talking so much about the offense. The pitching has been really good.
Insane.
Right? And that's we're all everybody's talking about the offense and that we're our 3, 4, 5 guys. We haven't seen any big hits from them yet, but we're getting on base. But the pitching, for the first time in a long time, we're seeing a lot of first pitch strikes. We're getting low pitch counts to innings. So I was impressed. I was at the game this past Friday, and our pitchers aren't going 15, 20 pitches deep and relying on the bullpen. That saves some arms for throughout the weekend or throughout the week. So I've been also very impressed with their pitching. And they called up 2 guys and said, with Scherzer going down, it's great. Everybody's adding. Yeah. And I think there's a lot, like I was saying before, there's a lot of people that want to prove themselves on this young team.
How about bunts? We bunted like
2
times.
Dude, it was awesome.
Bunt 4 times all last year.
Points. Get out of my head,
is my favorite.
As
a coach, and I'm sure a lot of people that know me, they know I love small ball. I love the bunts, and it works.
Lift small, bunt the ball, right?
Exciting. Yeah. So I want to talk about this. I don't know if you all caught this I think it was Monday night's post game that John Schneider was talking about some things they were doing in spring training. And this was one of those things that stuck with me because I'm like, this is perfect. This is the stupid little things that a team does together and they click. Apparently in spring training, they broke out into teams and legit had a bunting contest. The winner wasn't announced in this thing. Nobody said who it was. I have some suspicions from what we've seen the last few days on who that might have been. But John Schneider slid $1,000 of his own money into the table and said, whoever wins gets this. And those are, like I said, just those stupid little cherry on top things in a locker room that lead to these fun things. This is a team I've never seen bunt. Andres Jimenez actually stole a base the other night. That blew my mind. We were actually stealing a damn base. All these little things. Like, I wanted to talk on the pitching at some point too, but these little silly things, we haven't hit home runs. We only have, I think, 3 home runs is what I tallied a minute ago for the whole season, or 4. Oh, sorry, 5. I forgot about Springer's today and Tyle Heinemann's. But Andres Jimenez has 3 of those. So to your point, we couldn't score these runs. Even today, during the day game, they went 3 for 12 with runners in scoring position. That's the numbers we're used to seeing from last year. But they found a way to put the numbers on the board today and still get a win. Liz, I'll start with you. What do you think this does for this team if they're able to keep this up for a little while here?
Win games. It helps them to win games. That's the end of my analysis.
Like?
Oh, like what do you mean in terms? That's the thing is that what I was saying before. It's like we're gonna win some. If we can win games, just scoring runners, being consistent. Again, our dinger guys will heat up. It usually takes a minute for Vladdy to hit his groove. You know, even if we Santander, but like I think that. We score runs and we play competitive baseball. Like we don't look like a bunch of assholes just standing on the base. Like, right.
So Daryl, you mentioned the bunts. What do you love about the small ball part? That is your, I'll just say, chef's kiss to the fun things.
It certainly is. That's my specialty, especially coaching. I think parents and players hate it, but it works. And if you get guys on base, and you're sometimes overmatched and you just have to advance a runner, the easiest thing to do is to bunt. And not all of them are showing bunt defense. So, and if you have the opportunity to do it and it's unexpected and it could advance a runner and depends on who's in the lineup, who's on the bench, you know, lefty pitcher, lefty batter, righty batter, whatever the situations are, if you have a person who's up at bat who is 0 for the day, or is, you know, not, or is at this point in the season below the Mendoza line, and they could put the bat on the ball down the first baseline and advance runner from second to third with less than 2 outs, and then you can cash them, it's still a run. And we don't need to be a team that's going to hit as many home runs as the Dodgers or the Yankees or some of these prominent teams. We're, I wouldn't say a small market team by any means, but if we can win baseball games,
5th highest payroll in baseball. Actually.
I'm aware. However, if we're just scoring runs, and it goes back to Moneyball, all we're asked him to do is get on base, and everything else will take care of itself. So I'm a big believer. I'd like to see more. I think it shows John Snyder's roots as a minor league coach. I'm sure Don Mattingly is whispering in his ear a little bit. You know, this isn't how we do it up here in the show.
New hitting coach,
new jacked third base coach.
Yeah,
right.
I've seen that. Not a bad looking guy.
I agree. Right. So that's intimidating for the defense. But all in all, I think small ball does help because it's just another piece in your artillery. Instead of us, hitting into double plays at ending innings, let's get these guys over and put some pressure on the defense and make the pitchers throw pitches, and we'll see what happens.
Jason, this is freaking me out because it's not the Blue Jay way. We wait back for the home run, but I'd rather win a damn ball game.
But don't you guys? I mean, Daryl, I nail on the head. I think John Schneider. I've felt like John Schneider is a better coach than he has been since he's been coaching the Jays, and I feel like he's been hung by that same analogy, which is, the Yankees hit home runs, the Orioles hit home runs, the Dodgers hit home runs. We have to hit home runs. And with confidence, I can tell you, and coach too, I know exactly what you're talking about. What's more fun than hitting home, winning game. If you lose a game 10-3 and hit 3 home runs, great. You look like a donkey. Like let's go win some games and let's play some baseball. Like, baseball is so much more fun when the ball's in play. And to your point, Daryl, like one of my biggest coaching things to my kids and anyone else I'm talking to, the team that makes errors is going to win the game every single time. So if you're putting the ball in play and putting the ball on them, these things will start to root themselves out. We're in a right now where we might not have the best baseball players that ever played baseball, but we've got some damn good athletes. So the pressure on playing third base, who may not be the best third baseman, what do you think is going to happen after the third or fourth ball, hard balls hit at them? They're just going through them. They're just, these guys aren't to keep this up. And the guys that are, guys like, like Jimenez, and there's about 10 guys in the league on the infield that you could hit 50 balls at and getting through. Other ones are going to fold. The Jays will find cracks in these teams if they put the ball in play. I mean, I watched it the other night. Like Ernie Witt and Kirk got hits back, and neither of them swung out of their shoes. It was half a swing into the opposite field, and in both cases, the fielder made a bad choice. And that's just inexperienced baseball players in situations where it's, it's maybe 4-2 or 4-3. It's not, and it's, they started. Those wins are super important. And if you can jam a bunch of wins down in the start, log jam those in. I mean, when it comes to the dog days, Craig and I's favorite dog days. We talk about this crap nonstop about 2 months from now. Is what's it going to be like in July and August? And these wins now are so important. Crucial for that time.
So important. And nobody thinks of that either.
Well, Jason, imagine you're playing small ball up until July, and in the video room, or they're talking defense, and they go, we're going to have to figure out a wheel play. We're going to have to figure out what we're going to do. And the worst thing you could have is a defensive player thinking. Nobody wants to think when you're out there. You just want to get the ball and kind of know where to go. So what I also liked about Schneider, and I saw this on Friday night, was he's not afraid to go and talk to the umpire. If he gets tossed, it's okay. There were some situations on those close calls, where maybe he would have got tossed, but he played it chill. He had some conversations, but it looked like he had his guys back. And it was like
point was made.
Yeah. I think he's got his groove, and I think he knows, hey, we're not doing well this season. I may be done. If I do well this season, then I got another year in me.
Yeah. But there's a point to that it is that I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And I've seen that little bit difference. And I wonder how that is the mantra. The one thing that I didn't understand the last few years is they have all these kids that are going up to the plate and they're just hammering them with this pitcher's going to do this pitcher's going to do that, and they go to the plate with 90 stories in their head. They're going with a game plan, but the hitting coaches and Mattingly and whatnot are just letting them go to the plate this year. It's been very telling, and I think that's helpful.
And I think we heard that with Jacked Up Barger. He said, like, last year they changed his approach. He didn't feel comfortable at the plate. They gave him tips and things to do that were against the natural mechanics of his body, and he didn't feel like he ever settled into it, nor did he felt like he kind of improved in the way he wanted to. So this year they're just like, do you, man? Just do you.
But let's
would that be why George Springer's hitting?
You're so right. Yeah, and Bo, the two people who are being most affected by this right now are Bo Bichette and George Springer. Both of them are free swinging. They, Bo's back, his little Jimmy John. Springer's moving his front footer. I don't know if you ever watched Springer when he was an Astro. His foot didn't in the same place depending on where he wanted to hit the ball, and all he was doing was screwing with the outfielders. He would move his foot out a little bit like that, and they're thinking, okay, he's trying to this thing up and oppo, and he's not at all. He's not changing his swing. He's speeding it up. And I've watched the big thing for Barger, for a lot of those guys. The power for the Jays too is they're actually driving their hands down and out now rather than sort of coming across their bellies like they were a little bit more last year. But that's lazy baseball. Coming across your belly is lazy baseball, and I feel like that's what the Jays were doing last year. And this year they're like, you know what? If you want to let your hands get loose, let your hands get loose. Push those, drive it through, and put it into the gap, and let's see, Kirky try and slide into second. He's got to try it once in his career.
He's gonna steal this.
The wheels, the maple beef.
Maple beef wheels.
Yeah, there it is. So, but I look at up and down this lineup. Like I said, I know we're hammering the offense here on the first part of the show, but there's contributors on all over this, lineup. Even, we had a couple of key hits and walks the other night from even Nathan Lucas, even though he's batting $125. The one that scares me a little bit is after a hot start in spring training is Ernie Clement's looking a little rough at the plate, but defense is stellar. Miles Straw had a hell of a game today at 3 for 4.
Yeah.
And so that in 2 doubles. Great. But then you get, like we mentioned, that probably one of the better stories in baseball this year is Andres Jimenez so far. And we all knew he was going to get great on the defense, the Platinum Gold Glove winner, along with being an actual Gold Glove winner, just saying. But to that point, there's a lot of good things going on in this lineup. So Daryl, I'll let you go first. What has been your favorite offensive side story of the baseball so far this season?
Great question. I think right now the fact that Guerrero hasn't been as dominant as we're expecting allows the opportunity for other people to step up. And I think it's like a positive negative, because all good teams are built with role players and contributors. And it's allowing other people to step up and show what they're worth. And I think it also gives him the opportunity to know, like, hey, we got you. It's a big clubhouse, everybody's around him. So I wouldn't necessarily point out one player for me. I think the fact that he's not doing what is expected him to do at the shoot, granted, we're only, less than 10 games into the season, but it allows the autonomy for the rest of the lineup to just do their thing. And I like that. I think that role players are all stepping up. I like how the lineups are managed. I think originally I wasn't sure with Bichette batting leadoff, and I think some things are now making sense, as where it's like a boxing match. There's a little punch, counter punch, and I think we're getting up understanding. But for me, I'm gonna say the fact that Guerrero hasn't been dominant is allowing everybody else to contribute.
That's a cool point. And before I give Liz her opportunity here, we got a comment from the our cheap seats. Apparently, Damn Sexy Barger is off to a good start in Buffalo. Just saying.
The DSB.
Yeah.
I'm delighted.
Anyway, Liz, your story.
All right, so let's all say it, guys. I'm sorry, George Springer. I'm sorry. I said some things I didn't mean, but I meant them at the time. And if you do it again, I'll mean them again. But yeah, I'm really excited that Springer's having a good start. He had I don't know what was going on in spring training, what was going on with him. But it's nice to see him hit a dinger, contribute, get on base, and be like, instead of us worrying like, oh shit, we got to eat all this money on this contract for the next 2 years. We're like, no, we focus on the joy of baseball, which is like where I want to be.
9 hits, 5 RBIs, and he hit his first Springer dinger today. So
I crapped on him for 2 years already. A lot last year. To see what he's doing now, I was bought into, oh man, this guy's just all about the contract. He's got the big deal. He's just gonna put in cruise control. And then we're just not seeing that this year. Not to say we're seeing the Houston Astros resurgence of him by any means, but we're close to it.
No.
We're close.
This team looking really good at the end of the year has George Springer somewhere in the batting ballpark of 250, 20 home runs, 60, 70 RBIs, and that is a massive contribution to this club. So in the 6th spot, he's off to a good start to doing something like that. So that'll work. So Jason, your opinion, your favorite storyline.
Mine has got to go with haircut. Bo Bichette is looking like Bo Bichette. Yeah, like this is the Bo Bichette that we've seen on his high point of different seasons. And I don't know if you guys have noticed it at all. He looks completely different.
He's fired up and he's locked in. Yep.
Totally different face in the dugout. Totally different look on his face on the field. Yep. He seems to be, I don't know where, and it would be very interesting from now to him, sort of if someone had the stones to ask him what changed, like what was the inspiration to make you just sort of come out of kind of fire in and just sort of say, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to do what I'm really, really good at, which is hitting the ball. The defense, I mean, he has crapped up his defense. His defense has looked fine. He's actually made a couple of better than average plays, I would say. But on the batting side of things, I mean, Santa's down a little bit, but he kind of is like, I kind of feel like he's like that crocodile that just has his eyes out of the water. And he's just right now, the other guys are Vladdy is very similar. The other guys are feasting and they're like, we'll get our hits right now. We'll get our hits right now. And then when we get into one with the Yankees and they're, 2 guys on, I'm going to hit one over the scoreboard and everyone's going to be like, oh shit, where did that come from? So I feel like the team
getting Happy Gilmore vibes from that reference guy.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like the all this stuff with the torpedo bat, and which, I just as an aside, just so you know, Barry from and Bats has said that he does want to come on the show and do a full thing on the fact that the torpedo's been around for years. No one used it. The tech G has taken long of time to sort of get there. But I mean, you can't hit home runs if guys aren't throwing you balls middle. So we'll discuss the fact torpedoes, but also shitty pitching is
Jason,
is
I
also.
had a question for you on Bo and get your opinion. Do you think a lot of this is coming from the fact that his guy, who he's run up the minor leagues with, Vladdy Guerrero, is on the verge of a big contract, and all the lights are on him, but they're not on Bo? I mean, there are, but they're not. Do you think that he's a little bit intimidated, or I'm not saying jealous, but there's big money to his buddy, and he's
there's both of them there. Really, at the end of the day.
You make a great point, Daryl. Like, I mean, the Bo Bichette that we've always known as a Blue Jay is a quiet, almost to the point of, just beige. Like, I mean, sure, he had the flow and he was handsome when he came, but other than that, he's a pretty dude. And so I feel like even when they were shot, I don't know if you guys saw the blooper reel from when they were doing the Let's Go for the Blue Jays thing. And he did. Everyone started laughing. And he's like, what? He's like, that's all I got. And then somebody else did. It was like Bassett or somebody. And it was exactly the same. And someone said, those was better. I think at this point now, they're kind of embracing the fact that they have to drag Bo out of this. You're just a baseball, you consider, and you don't have to be the guy who's doing Toyota commercials in Toronto and doing, McCain juice boxes and that kind of shit. Like that day is like drag Bo kicking and screaming out onto the spotlight and say, hey, if we have to get rid of Vladdy, do you know who's taking the reins? Have any idea of what happens when he leaves? It's you, dude. Like, you're the dude after the dude. So I agree with you. I think that he realizes that this could be his big moment. And I also feel like there's enough of a relationship between him and Vlad where both kind of like, we could really knock this out. We could really get to a point where the two of us are kings in this city. We're making crazy money. We're the rest of our life be able to do whatever we want. And after a couple of years, if we win one, we can go and play anywhere we want. But I do feel like Bo has enough in him. I think he didn't. I think that if he didn't give a shit about Toronto or about this team or about even Vladdy as a friend, I think he'd have given up. I think he would even have gone farther into the year, willing to just sort of sit there like a pissy Roger Dorn on the bench and not,
You've got it wrong. I love the Roger Dorn, but it's Anthony Rendon. That's the only comparison anymore.
Anthony Rendon, perfect, so perfect.
Good point. But I don't think Bo wants to be the guy. He's like, Vladdy's here. I don't gotta be.
I think he does now.
You think so?
I think he wants to be the side guy. He wants to be
the side guy. He doesn't want to be the guy though. He doesn't want to be the.
I think sometimes
he wants to be the Winter Soldier to Captain America.
I agree with that.
Robin. He wants to be Robin to his Batman.
But he doesn't want to be Batman. Is my point. Like even if the pressure's off,
Bo, marketing ploy. Hold on for a second. Let's just picture this. Okay. Vladdy in a Batman suit and Bo in a Robin suit.
Cute.
I mean, it would be a hilarious commercial. And whatever it was.
I agree. Yeah.
You on that one for a shirt, Daryl?
Yeah. You know what? There's probably a few trademarks that would be infringed on that, but I'm sure we can make it work.
Let's go.
We got some great people.
Bo is
Vladman and Bobin.
Yeah, Bo is my Robin, and then the other shirt says Vlad's my Batman.
There you go.
That I can do.
There you go. Text is a wonderful thing, bud.
Right.
So let's move on to the pitching side of the ball here before we obviously have a little fun with merch here before we wrap up around 6:50 tonight. I want to talk about the pitching because, Liz, you hit the nail on the head that obviously opening day was not what we wanted it to be. And once again, unfortunately, front and center for that was Jose Barrios. So this is now 2 opening days he's had for the Blue Jays, correct?
That's correct.
And both were suspect.
That's correct.
So looked phenomenal last night, though. Just saying. So how are you thinking of the pitching side of things, Liz?
I'm nervous about it. We've seen some good starts from some pitchers so far, but like the Scherzer thing, guys, did we get scammed?
Might have gotten catfished.
Like no, because
give it a couple of months, Liz.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be just fine.
Okay, thank you. That's all I need.
So
I'm happy with our bullpen. I was happy with some starts that we've seen. Who started today? I caught the end of the game. He was new. He was the guy who brought up.
Easton Lucas.
Yeah.
And he was great.
That sounds like that's a baseball player's name. You have two jobs. If you're born Easton Lucas, you have two jobs. One, professional baseball player. Second one, professional arm wrestler. That's it.
Oh,
over the top.
There you go. Sell baseball bats. But no, Easton Lucas actually threw 5 strong innings today, only gave up 1 hit. And he struck out. I'm losing it. He got 2 strikeouts and a walk. So
great.
No, I'm looking at the wrong line here. No, I was right. 3 strikeouts, 2 walks.
And it was his first major league game?
One off. That was not his first major league pitch, but obviously his first Blue Jays debut. I'm letting that come around on another rotation start.
For real.
He's the 5th starter basically at this point. Game on. That's okay.
He looked good. He looked really
Worst
good.
case scenario, we got another guy we can put in the bullpen with Rod.
Yeah, he wasn't spooked. His command was good. Yeah.
He looked a lot better than Richard Lovelady.
Oh yeah.
Poor Dick.
Lovelady.
Poor Dick. Oh, sorry.
The third.
So, but on that note, the pitching staff, the starting rotation outside of, like I said, what has become I'll say whoever happens to be the hot hand at the point where right now, obviously that's Easton Lucas, but Max Scherzer being gone, you still have Barrios, Bassett, and Gossman that have looked insanely good. And Brandon Bowden Francis, again, how many innings was it the other night that he was no hitting? I think it was 5 1/3 before they finally got to him with back-to-back home runs, of course, because that's how every one of his no-hitters ends, is with a fucking home run. So, Daryl, I guess I'll let you take a turn with the fun with the rotation and or the bullpen.
I think our rotation's great. I mean, just Bassett, Gossman, Barroas, and Scherzer, like when he'll be fine. I mean, that's just a motley crew of just aces right there. They could be an ace anywhere. Like, in all fairness, and if you're coming into town or the Jays are coming in, you got to face one of those 4, or whomever is going to be the 5th starter. We'll see who that is over time. It's hard. It's going to be not easy for you. Look, the bullpen will get there. They're a little bit younger than I would have liked. Yeah. But hey, it's okay. This time last year, we were so worried about Manoah and like we're looking past a lot of these guys right now, and and we're doing all right. And I think we're just gonna be just fine. And it's engaging. It's nice. To me, I think we're gonna be just fine on the starting pitching side.
Yeah. So, Jason, we have a comment from, I'm pretty sure is one of your friends. Brandon Little looks damn good in the bullpen as our sole lefty so far. Did get some help with Mason Fluharty yesterday, is also a lefty. But I think we got a nice balance in our bullpen right now with some veterans, some young guys, righty, lefty. What you thinking, bud?
Well, I think my two bright stars now are Chad Green. I think Chad Green has been great. Every single time we've asked him to go into a game at this point, even in spring training, he was a big animal. I mean, how can we not look at the retina burning star right now that Jimmy Garcia is? Like, I mean, really. I was in the game the other night, and he was standing in the dugout, staring onto the field, like, just let me out there so I can rip the end of this game right out. Standing there, arms hanging, like, he took a big swig of water. I hope they've got a cool. I haven't been, Daryl, you and Liz, you guys have. Does he have a cool entrance at least?
No. Only the closer. Was
not even when he was closing the other night?
No.
No.
Entrance it's been entrance free.
I was thinking
no wrestling vibes, huh?
Undertaker bells. The Undertaker bells to start.
A little gong.
Yeah.
Some
and then
smoke.
As it comes, there's a couple of really good new song. Like Bad Bunny has a really good song that's just out, and it would be really good for it. I think they could get some real cool. That need more of that thing that I think that they need to get going with is that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, Chad Green and Garcia have just been. I mean, they've been so good, and I mean, Osmond's been sick. Come on, like. He looks like the first time I ever saw Gausman as a J, I was like, holy crap, anybody ever on this guy? And he looks like that dude again. that got the yeah kick, like the foot kick, and then he goes. Love it.
Yeah. The biggest thing with Goss is the split is back. The split is the thing all over again. And I don't know if you guys have noticed. I know that Scherzer's hurt, but he's still been obviously there. These guys, regardless, if Gossman, Bound Francis, any of them, they've all been whoosh right next to each other. And you can clearly tell that Gossman is steering a lot of those conversations, and Scherzer's just dumping information out to all of them. The one that I love is attached to his hip. Is Bound Francis is like literally it's like Scherzer
right there.
Yeah.
And
I watched a Hazel May interview with Scherzer, and he's like, everybody's intimidated by me, but I'm actually really fun in the locker room. And he goes, Bassett kind of gets me like I'm a gamer. You saw that? He's like, he knows I'm a gamer, but he's like, I'm also a lot of fun. And I think there's just like, oh my God, here's this future Hall of Famer in the locker room. Oh my goodness. Can I get his number? Can we go to Soto sometime, sir? Right?
Like in my glove.
Yeah.
But to that point, I think the pitching staff has been very collaborative from watching them sit on the bench talking to each other and things like that. I think they're all sharing pitches, and it wouldn't shock me that Bound Francis, Kevin Gossman, both talking about the splitter even at the end of last year, because Bound Francis is at the beginning of last year. His splitter was completely different than what it looked like in near no hitter Bound Francis at the end of the season. Did one of them finally share the grip that got it far enough down into their fingers? Something, get a little extra spin on it. Those conversations go both ways. You might be leaning the direction toward the younger guy, but Gossman's sitting there teaching in that aspect. He's going to, I haven't done that in a bit. You know, those stupid things that just oversimplify it for the guy that's teaching can trigger something to be able to be the catalyst to doing well again, or maybe he's just finally healthy. But it is very interesting to see Gossman back the way he's been. And now the team collectively is that much better for it. And that's what I think we've been seeing this so far is a team, not the sum of the all things Vlad can do that we had at the end of last season. I think those are the big things that are what's driving this forward. And the reason we just got done with a sweep of the Washington Nationals against a guy that threw 13 strikeouts on opening day. Just saying, Mackenzie Gore was on fire, and we got 3 runs off of him today.
Yeah.
So
I think you're splitter too, Craig, though. I've just learned how to throw a splitter, not properly, but I'm learning. As a coach, I'm always trying to learn. I had on our 15A AAA team who is such an excellent athlete. And he asked me last night if I could show him a splitter, and I had to look him in the face and say, I can't show you how to show you how to throw a better splitter than anyone. So I went and looked today, and there's a video actually. So kids out there, if you're watching at home, there's a great video of Pedro Martinez talking about his splitter and how he evolved it from a fastball to a changeup, where he would hold his changeup the same way he would hold his splitter. So, and it's a really neat thing and he talks about how he had to just get to a point where his hand was so relaxed and that every now and again, when he threw a splitter, the ball would go way out. And he was okay with that. He was okay with the ball coming out of his hand and not being a strike, because when it was in his hand and devastating, it was so devastating. And that's where God is right now. His hand position and his comfortability with having a loose hand and long, strong fingers is what's. And I watched him in the dugout. He had a ball in his hand and he was moving it around. He was talking to, I feel like it was Francis actually. And like they're it's like they're like mind melded. Last year it was a lot of like 3 guys sitting with 3 guys all the time. They've done away with that. Guys are moving place. They're not he sit at the end of the bench anymore. He's like around and moving and all the rest of it. So I think that's super awesome.
Good deal. I got 2 things we got to get to before our show runs out tonight here. So I want to get through them, and I want to make sure that Daryl has the time to talk all things merch. But I got to get the contest going again here. Our picks to click. So last week, Jason, while you were MIA, we actually had no guest because we had Jeff Fry on the week before and some scheduling fun with Bob File. We couldn't get it all equaled out. So it was just Liz and I last week running the show and making horrible picks on your behalf.
Yes.
So, Liz, last week you picked Vladdy, hoping it was the cheat code that it was last year. Jason, we put Alejandro Kirk for you, which he did pretty good, but he didn't do as good as Bo Bichette, who I had. And then we gave, because we didn't have anybody on last week, Jeff Fry was a second baseman. We put Andres Jimenez in the guest spot last week. So I'm thinking for the best week in Toronto Blue Jays baseball over the past, since our last recording, was Andres Jimenez. And I don't think there's much debate there. So the guest spot takes win number uno of the Picks to Click for the Blue Jays season for the Jay Bird Watching podcast. So, Daryl, that now puts you on the spot, because in this, unlike a lot of places, winner gets to go first. So the only person you cannot pick is Andres Jimenez.
And it's who's going to be the best person this upcoming week?
Yeah, it could be a pitcher, it could be anything.
Wednesday.
All right. I'm going to go with Alejandro Kirk.
Going for the king.
Yeah.
Captain Kirk. All right. Next, I'm just going to be nice. Ladies first, Liz.
I'm going to go with Bichette. I think Bichette's going to have a good week.
Going for Bo knows. Hopefully Picks to Click. Jason, who are you thinking?
I'm going with my Stewie favorite player on the with Will Wagner, please. I'll take
Will
Wagner.
Good pick.
Wagner.
Wagner. Say it again.
Oh, Will Wagner. I like it. You both took everybody I wanted. I'm gonna ride Springer. I'm gonna put my money where his mouth is and do a full U-turn of my horrible comments to him this spring. So
just take Kevin Kiermaier while you're at it.
Yeah, hey, below the belt, he's still on the coach. You bought me that jersey yet?
Yeah. I'm sending it to you.
All right. So on that note, I want to talk and end the show on all things fun and merch. So Daryl, first off, I want to give your wonderful platform that you have a chance to talk. And then I want to just talk some of the funny, silly things that we've seen in merch history and some of the Blue Jay giveaways. So go ahead, you first.
My favorite giveaway in Blue Jays history?
No, talk about your brand, man.
Oh, talk about the brand.
Talk about your brand
First of all, thank you.
Yeah.
We decided to run this thing and do it because there was such a gap in the Canadian market for a true baseball brand. And that's why we call ourselves Canada's baseball brand. There's so much in the US and we appreciate that, but we wanted something that went back to 1838 and just wow people. And I got a lot of DMs on TikTok and on Instagram with people going, I didn't know that. Like one of our very first posts was a picture of Babe Ruth playing for the Baltimore Orioles, saying how Baltimore Grays, my apologies, saying that he hit his first home run at Hanlon's Point. They're like, no, he didn't. Like he did.
He did.
He did. Not a lot of people know that. And there's a plaque. Or that baseball was actually created in 1838 in Canada, in Ontario, before 1 year before the game happened in Cooperstown. So there's all these stories that are true, that there's no real platform. And then also something that goes as much for nostalgia as we can. So we named our hat, one of our Expos hat, the Jerry Park hat. And I'll people like,
that's the one I put on our show logo this evening.
What's Jerry Park? Like there's just a lot of young baseball fans in this country who just don't know the history of baseball in this country. And we want to give it a platform. Like I believe tomorrow's Jackie Robinson Day, and the fact that he played in Montreal, but also Roberto Clemente played in Montreal. So there's people just don't know, and they're always wow that two of the most prolific players in baseball history came through the system in Canada. Plus, the Calgary Expos, amongst other teams. So we developed this brand, and it came up with the name Jay Birdy because having played baseball and coached for so many years, there's a lot of Jay Birds. So we were thinking of names and Jay Birds. And Jason, have you been called Jay Bird before?
Many times.
Many times. And we decided Jay Birdy would be a classic fit, being in Toronto, being the Mecca, and play on what the Blue Jays do, but you can't do what they do, and have some fun. And it's been really great. If on our social media, some of our videos have gone viral. On TikTok, one of our videos that we pinned has over 53,000 views. It's been really awesome. Some of my favorite things are going to a Jays game and seeing people in our Jay Birdy hats or Jay Birdy shirts. And I'll just stop you and I'll say, hey, what are you drinking? Because I'm the leader of the flock and I'm going to buy you a beer right now. and they're like, "Who the heck are you?" And I'm like, "I'm the Jay Birdy guy." And I see them, or I have people that they'll say, "I'm at a bar and I see somebody wearing a Jay Birdy." So there was a gap in this market for Canada to have pride in a baseball merchandise, a baseball brand. And that's why we're Canada's baseball brand. And I like to think that we're going to continue on. We've got our first snapback coming out on pre-sale next week that we're very excited about. I could show you here.
Yeah, let's get the reveal.
Preview.
This is it.
Oh, there.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's great.
Love it.
With the snapback.
Oh.
It's even North Shore baseball colors.
Oh man, yeah, that's
And on the
man.
inside it says Canada's baseball brand.
That's beautiful.
So flat brim.
That is awesome.
And we've got more to come. We've got a little bit of a Christmas line that we're going to be doing. There's just been so many requests, and we're like, yeah, we'll get to it. Yes, we'll get to it. Yes, we'll get to it. But it's been really humbling. There's so many great Canadian baseball people that have reached out. In year one, we did some stuff with the IBL. We've had some great Canadian baseball bat companies reach out that want you three together have reached out. It's been wonderful. It's been humbling. But I also just want to share before we go, our bags, I just want to share with you what they look like for those who've never got one before. It's made to look like a jersey.
That's awesome.
Because there's just this sense of pride. And Jason as a coach, and Liz and Craig, I'm sure you've played on teams before. It doesn't even have to be baseball. But there's just something, when you get your first jersey, you're like, wow, it's a sense of pride. And we want to give that to everybody. They get a Jay Birdy sticker and a pin. Obviously, if you buy a hat, we'll set it in a box. But we want to grow this brand. Out of nowhere, we've got over 3,000 people, I think over 3,200 on Instagram, and just about the same on TikTok. But our views on TikTok and are in the hundreds of thousands. So we're having fun. We've got a great agency called the Concept Agency that's been working and doing a lot of our stuff. We do email campaigns. We're just happy that Canada's finally got something, and we're not going anywhere. Awesome. We're going to be here. We're going to put out some new stuff every year. And if people have ideas, send us a DM on Instagram and we'll do it. We've got autonomy to do it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, Daryl, I got to tell you, as a dad, as a salesman, as a baseball fanatic, I've had the same thing for bats. Wood bats are very hard to get in Canada if you're not using a Canadian bat. Varieties of bats are really hard to do. Big thing for me is that I love the brand. My kids love it. It's just awesome to see it happening, and the story is the best part. Go out, guys, the website, find out as much as you can about this. It's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And we wanted to have a real cool logo. So we've got this logo. It was, the idea was, how close can we get to the Springfield Isotopes as possible? And I think we nailed it.
Well played.
Yes.
And it's simple, elegant, and screams baseball. And Canadian baseball being a Blue Jay. So
absolutely. It's not a Blue Jay. It's a bird. That's right. It's a bird. Because
there's one of those in our logo too. It just happens to be pounding a beer. Not a big deal. So on that note, Daryl, you are more than welcome to come back here and talk baseball, show your cool stuff. One way or the other, you are always welcome here on what we call the barroom chat for Blue Jays fans. So we just happen to have been very fortunate lately that a few players have wanted to join the barroom chat. So, anybody got anything to add quick? I know I got to run.
No, Craig, you got to go. The only thing is, true believers out there, we've got a guest coming back. One of our favorites, Scotty Richmond, is going to be coming back in a couple of weeks here. I do him today. He's excited to come back. I got a few surprises I might lay on you guys. I've got some actors and some other stuff that I met a couple of weeks. I try and blow this
more
up.
More people for Daryl to hang out with too. Then,
Craig, I know you got to go, buddy. So
the bigger question, you all can keep talking as it says up in that corner. Nope, sorry, that corner over here. End stream.
I don't have that button.
Don't have that button.
I don't have that button
we
either.
Gotta wrap this up. You guys keep talking afterwards. So on that note, everybody, thank you very much. Almost 200 of you live in the chat with us and Daryl tonight. Daryl, it's been a pleasure. Hang out and chat with these people, get their ideas. But on that, we will be back next week. I forget, is it next week we had Bob File on? Yes. Next week we have Bob File on.
Former Toronto Blue Jay, Bob File. Let's go.
Yeah, we're going to talk all things Blue Jays baseball, and we will have a wonderful evening. And as always, lights up now, apparently. Let's go, Blue Jays. Thank you, everybody. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdWatchingGC, and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.
Woo!